Good evening. I would like to call this meeting of the Town of Thompson Planning and Zoning Commission to order. It is Monday, May 20th, 2024, 7 p.m. We are here in the Thompson Public Library meeting room and on Zoom. Reminder to all present, under citizens' comments and during a public hearing, please state your name and address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes speaking time unless otherwise directed by the chair. And please address all comments to the chair in a civil and respectful manner. Now ask everyone to stand as they are able for the pledge of allegiance. Over here, thanks. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we proceed, Mr. Chairman, I just have, but could somebody in the Zoom room confirm that they can hear the sound in the room? We have different equipment here than we do when we meet at town hall.
We can hear.
Thank you, Linda.
Excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chair. We'll begin with a roll call and seating of alternates. Mr. Hill will serve you. Alvin Hill.
Mike Vogel, present.
Russell Roth.
Ray Williams.
Jane Salsey.
David Flosky,
Randy Blackmore.
Ryan.
John B. Lincoln. Just Brody Brown. We will seat Mr. Bosky for Mr. Santos. I will, before we get to item 4, I will make a motion to amend the agenda to add under section 11, signing of Mylar. Planning and Zoning Commission application 24-02, applicant John and Cheryl Lewinsky, property owner of 90 Thompson, rural residential agricultural district, a 3-lot subdivision approved at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on February 26, 2024. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Hill. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a yes vote will amend the agenda, a no vote will keep the agenda as written. Mr. Hill. Alvin Hill, yes.
Mike Vogel, yes.
Russell Robin, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
Jane Salsey, yes.
David Flosky, yes.
Randy Blackmore, yes.
Ryan Canor, yes.
John B. Lincoln, yes.
And Joseph Brody Brown, yes. The agenda is amended. Item 4, public hearing, Planning and Zoning Commission application 24-11, applicant Ishwara Sharma, 1 Rattan Road, Realty Trust, owner of 1410 Thompson Road, map 114, block 27, lot 21, zone RRAV, 49.53 acres, special permit for multi-housing, 16 single-family homes, 4 duplexes, community building, according to the Town of Thompson zoning regulations, Article 7, 275-7.2, number 14, and Article 4, 275-4, A, B, and C. For the applicant.
Just point of order, Mr. Chairman, Kaiser has entered the meeting at 7:03, just for the record.
Good evening, I'm Janet Blanchett with J&D Civil Engineers, representing the project of Thompson Shanty Village on behalf of Dr. Sharma, who is the owner of the property, and he chose the term Shanti because it means peaceful, serene, and quiet. The setup in this room is not ideal, the way you guys are kind of in a line, and my plan is down there. What I'll do is I'll tell you what sheet I'm discussing, perhaps, because I know you guys have your own copies, or if there's anything I can do to,
I have a larger one here too, if you want me to put it on the table to pass it down. I brought one.
So we're okay with their own copies?
Yeah, we got a copy.
Yeah, we have.
Thank you.
So, this property is 1410 Thompson Road. It's located up, its northern property line is the Massachusetts border. It's about halfway between Interstate 395 to the west and Route 193 on the east. I apologize to people in the audience. If I set up in this room, I'm going to invite town hall. I'm looking at sheet two. This is like a vicinity map that shows, the property which I highlighted in pink and the state line in green. So this is a 46-acre property. It's quite a large property. What he would like to do is, Dr. Sharma lives on the property. What he would like to do is free split off his house and then develop a condominium project mostly geared towards senior citizens on the remaining 38 acres. So of this remaining 38 acres, basically be developing 11 acres of it, and 27 acres wouldn't be touched at all. It's would be left in its natural state. And so what he's proposing is actually 16 single-family houses and 4 duplexes, but that's considered multifamily because it's all on one lot. So even though they're in each individual houses. And this is quite a unique property because there is no frontage in Connecticut. The frontage and the access is from Massachusetts, although no work is proposed in Massachusetts because he has a full width access driveway. And because of the uniqueness of this project, this is why we brought the project to staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission about a year and a half ago. So we had an informal meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission in November of 2022. And we discussed this, and basically what the situation is in Thompson, your subdivision regulations require that lots have access in Connecticut, but that's only for new subdivision lots. This is an existing property with existing access. So no new access points are being created, and the zoning regulations allow that. And that's why before Dr. Sharma went to this, effort to complete the design of the project, we met with staff and the commission. I'll get onto more details later, but I think you can see it's kind of a low impact development because it's clustered and leaves most of the property undeveloped, which is an efficient layout. He'll be able to that way, keep most of the stone walls. There's a lot of stone walls in the property and around the border, and he really is only going to affect the one wall in this location. The other stone walls will all be saved. And that was one of the things that was of interest to the Wetlands Commission, that the stone walls that separate the upland from the wetland would all be preserved and not disturbed. So I'm going to flip this over to the survey sheet. This is sheet 3. It's really just our sheet that we do the modifications and everything for the free split lot. But I did want to point out where the power is coming in because it seemed you had a question on that. So here's Route 193 in the east. And Dr. Sharma already has a CLOP easement going from Route 193 into his property. So one of the earlier things on was to contact Eversource and see if they were, acceptable to upgrade that easement, and they are. So that's where the power will come. And it goes through the property of Webster Lake Variety. You drive down the road and you look up the hill, you can see the power line going up, because this is quite an elevation to get up to where the existing house is. I'm now going to move to sheet 4, which is, blow up of the other sheet we're looking at. It just focuses on the area of development and doesn't show the 28 acres that aren't being developed. So here are the 16 proposed single-family houses off cul-de-sac road that is designed to the width and design criteria of your subdivision regulations, even though it will be a private road. Another thing, early on, Dr. Sharma approached the Webster Water and Sewer Department and asked if he could be served by water and sewer in Massachusetts, because the water and sewer literally comes right to its property line, but they declined. They said they want to maintain the capacity for their Webster residents, which makes sense. It is some people up in north on 193 though do have water from Webster. So basically that means the septic systems and wells. We did over 60 test pits. On the property this winter, the soil is excellent for septic systems. It's very well drained. All the perk rate tests were less than 10 minutes per inch to perk. And since these are all 2-bedroom units, the actual size of the leaching system is only 6 feet wide by 35 feet long for each individual unit. Each individual unit, just like as if it would be a single family house, will have their own septic tank, their own septic system. Over towards the east side of the property, near the creek split line, is where his proposed wells will be. And he's working with the Fram boys and their water supply company. It's called Millennial or Millennium, because they're certified public water supply operators. Because since there'll be more than 25 people living here, you assume if there was 2 people per dwelling unit, there would be 48. Now, they won't all have 2, so at a maximum of 48. But that exceeds 25, so it'll be a public water supply well. And he'll have a little utility building that you'll build to hold the storage tanks to keep the water in, and that's shown off the new relocated driveway that goes to his house. Oh, he also was interested in having a gate, so that to protect their privacy and just keep people, so there'll be a gate at the end of the road, and people will have a code to get in. But we did provide a turnaround area in case somebody gets lost or just needs to otherwise turn around, that there's like a little hammerhead turnaround near the mailboxes so people can just exit back out. Cindy had a question about lights, and there isn't little decorative street lights showing along, just, moderate light to have a little bit of light at night. Fully shielded to meet dark skies components. The other very important thing, I believe, is that this is going to be a condominium development that's restricted to adults. And the reason why, and he's thinking about like 30 and over, the reason why he doesn't want to restrict it to 55 and older is because often older people have children live with them who help take care of them, or somebody would have a live-in aid, or there could just be couples or single people who aren't interested in having children, and to not limit himself to only 55. So by having it be somewhere like 30 and over, there won't be any school children, like there's no playgrounds, there's no amenities for children, and we don't expect school buses to come in there. In fact, there's a note right in the cover sheet that says this project will not be served by any school bus and will be restricted to 30. He's also planning on constructing a community building for the use of the neighbors and the condominium association. So the next sheet 5, is very similar to the sheet we were just looking at, except it has the grading plan. And so on that, you can see that stormwater infiltration basin, which is to the west of the developed area. And so most of the water will stormwater runoff will sheet into that, so it will be dispersed. And the runoff is treated with infiltration and filtration. The stormwater system meets the state water quality standards for the 2023 water quality manual. So especially when we went in the wetlands sidewalk, there was 4 wetlands commissioners, almost the whole commissioner came in the sidewalk, and Cindy Dunn, who was acting as her agent, came, and they were pleased with how flat the site is, so that the potential for runoff would be very low, and they were especially pleased because they could see like the stone walls kept in place. And in fact, they commented that this proposed design was well thought out, and then the Wetlands Commission did unanimously approve this project last week. I have several sheets of this plan set that are devoted to test pits, construction details and sections, but I think it may be more interesting to the commission and the audience to see the architectural plans that Dr. Sharma has been working on it closely. He has, licensed architect from Southbridge at the end of Normandy, working with him. And what he'd like, what, the proposal is basically there'll be like white houses will probably have three styles that are complementary to each other, but they don't look exactly the same, so they'll be a little variety on the street. The houses all have 2 bedrooms, 2 car garages, and similar features. It's about 2,200 square feet in size. And it's important that homes are going to be made ADA accessible as possible, because the target audience is senior citizens. The front, there's not going to be any steps at the front door. There's no steps between the garage and the first floor. The interior staircase has been designed to accommodate a lift. And of course, the bathrooms and everything have all the grab bars and ADA compatible. And also important to Dr. Sharma is sustainability. So the houses will be well insulated, they'll be solar ready, and there'll be EV chargers in the garage. And also have hookups ready for generators should those needed. You know, to really work hard with his architect to create homes that will let in a lot of natural light and still have privacy and normal inviting. But here, you know, this shows the elevation views and the front view of the home, and also included in your packet. But is a sample floor plans, which shows one of the bedrooms on the ground floor and like a guest bedroom. It's really, this will be maybe 1.5 stories, because most of the living space is on the first floor, but then just like a guest bedroom. On the second floor, and he's also proposing to have basements. I did ask Dr. Sharman to say a few words about the project. Now might be a good time if you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Chairman.
First of all, I want to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to present it to you. As we said, we came here in November of 22 to solicit your input, as well as so that we work as a team to make sure the things are done right from start. Since then, we also visited the building inspectors, the fire inspectors when the houses were done, so that we take their input to do it right and do it first time correct. I came to this country in 1970, July, and I was 26-year-old. I stayed in Worcester, went to New York, and started my practice in Webster, and built my home in 1978 in Thompson. So I am in that place for the last 46 years. I'm a resident and I love my environment, and over the years, I had very healthy relationship with the town, and they have been very kind to me, and over the period, whatever help I needed, they were always there for us. This project was done not because there's no shortage of things. I have been looking to say someday, I'm 79 years old, someday I will hang my shingles and retire. I'm still actively working because I know nothing else. And this is the only thing I knew, medicine. And in my family, either we were doctors or we were educators. I didn't have a choice. I wanted to be an engineer. I was kind of saying, this is what you have to do. So back in my mind was always I wanted to do something. And I had that DNA from my father who was an engineer. So this project is special for me because it brings me to the point where I may be using this myself. I have a lot of friends who are interested. We looked around in Westboro, this place, that place, and it was very difficult to get that done. In one of the Westboro, my friend bought the unit and paid the money. And when they moved in, his son was 34 years old, divorced, living with his own parents. The unit, the organization said you can't move in, so they had to sell that unit with $100,000 loss. And then they said, we need to have our own where we can have when we get old, we need somebody to help. And in the last 15-20 years, there is a 20% reduction in providing help to the seniors, whether nursing homes are shrinking. And the cost of those homes are about $14,000 to $15,000 annually. And going to nursing home is everybody's last resort. That's not their first option. So this was something I thought we should be able to have people who come in, feel as a family, extended family, help each other and build this thing in so that we can go and watch the game together, we can have a party together. And if somebody needs transportation, we don't have to call Uber and maybe we can help each other. So this is my concept, and hopefully if everything goes well with your permission, we should be able to get on board. And if anybody has any questions from me, I'd be happy to.
Any questions, for the applicant? Mr. Williams?
I have one question. When you were in November of 22, didn't you say something about a community building? Didn't you say you were gonna have like a community building or a
Yeah,
community
it's
room?
already on the plan here.
I
The
didn't see-
building is there because that is based on how many people show up, because it's a small project. If only 4 people come in, the community project will be overburdened on them. So we have to have enough people come in so that we can share the responsibility as well as the cost of that unit.
Mhm. Yeah, it was pretty good too, and I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's
So
on
it's
sheet
right
4,
behind,
I did see it.
sheet 4 or 5,
Yeah, I got it.
right here.
it's right behind the,
Yeah, I got it.
thank you.
I looked at it. I can't believe I missed that.
Ms. Altsey?
I'm just curious, I forget what you had said, what the price range was gonna be for these units.
I think the price range is dependent on the infrastructure cost, so I did not want to put a cart in front of the horse. I have talked to the local tour companies, they have my 2 friends, that are putting the cost of putting the road and all that stuff. And I told them, you have time until I get this, I didn't want to presume it's done. So I don't know the infrastructure cost, electrical, they have to want me to put about 2,000 underground wire to cover provide the electrical source. So, the building alone is 2,400 plus basement, plus garage, plus it's slightly on the medium high end with built-in high-end heating and electric system by Mitsubishi or Bryan. And gas stoves, making sure the gas stoves are there like Jota, part of the house. And if they want it, every house, if feasible, will have already solar done. It's part of the package. So that we can't build a system in which too many options, because do it right, do it one for all. It may not be the most progressing quickly in the market, but that's so be it.
Oh, no, I get that,
But I don't know the number, to be honest. I don't think it will be any less than, if you look at the marketplace, they're telling me what building cost is about $300 a square foot. I said that's astronomical.
yeah,
So if I can bring it down, that's my goal, is to have in the range with every infrastructure around 7. That's my goal is. Can I do it? I don't know.
Yeah, I like the design, I like the setup, I like the fact that it is for, the elderly, it's an upscale elderly housing complex.
Yeah.
It's not a low housing, and that's not a bad, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just trying to get, because 20, 21, 2,200 square feet is a good size.
2,400.
2,400, that's a good size home for a retirement, so I'm just trying to visualize it.
Because once we raise the wall to 12 feet,
Yeah,
then the architect says, we have another room we can create upstairs for sitting there. I said, that's low hanging fruit, why not? So on the guest room, there will be another sitting area, they can just come and sit there. And if somebody is visiting us, they can have a place.
and may I ask you, have you done any marketing analysis with this as to how, well, homes like this are selling in the area?
No, I haven't done anything because this is going to be slightly different than a unique project.
Okay,
So therefore, when I talked to the bankers, because one of my lawyer friends said, you should talk to the banker was saying that will be slightly harder to sell because this may not be there. But I'm not looking in here. I have friends who are in Westboro, And a lot of friends who are living in Webster, this areas, who go to Marco Island and all that, after some time they can't travel.
Yeah.
They come back to their nest, they stay there, and now they need family and friends to take care of them, and they take part of their life. So I think basically, I will probably know the numbers in 2-3 months after this is done.
Thank you. Mr. Hill?
Two questions.
Yes, sir.
I see we got 3 different phases.
Mhm.
What's the plan in terms of building? Phase 1 over how many months? Phase 2, phase.
So phase 1 will start when I have 4 friends or 4 people interested to do it, because you can't do one at a time, because in order to have cost effectiveness, infrastructure cost retrieve, I am advised by my architect that we should start 4 or 5 at a time, and then do 4 or 5 next phase, and then do the third phase accordingly. But the road and all that infrastructure will be done single phase.
Okay.
Yeah, so because we don't want to go back and cut the trees here and do that sort of thing, that would, the infrastructure will be done single phase.
Second question, on the community building. Is there any, I see that all the units are gonna have charging stations for EVs. Any possibility of having, not public, but a charging station on the exterior?
We didn't think about, because only people living there has their, 40 amps or 60 amps circuits. They can put 2 in a garage, they said it's not a big deal because it's like a loop. But it's, the way the electric, cars are going, I think it will be some time before everybody start driving. It will be hybrids coming now, I think. But it is if there is a requirement, it's not a big deal. We can put in the back of our our community center. There are 10 parking places. If need be, we will put it there. That's the place would be.
Okay, Ms. House?
Okay, I'm wondering why Alvin asked if this is a private place, so why would they put in public, charging units?
Nobody's coming to charge that place because there will be gate.
Yeah, that's
security.
what I thought, okay, all right.
Yes. I mean, say a 30-year-old is doing some college work. And parking, instead of having it in the house, his wife is charging her vehicle, he's gonna charge his. I was just thinking,
Oh, okay,
that's all.
okay.
No.
I just want to start.
As a visitor,
Yeah,
that's a comment to the development, having an
Right.
EV station to park and charge their vehicle.
And that's a good suggestion. We will definitely put in discussion with my architect to plan it. That's not a.
That can be an after effect.
I don't think it's a big deal for us.
it could be an afterthought.
No, it's not a big deal.
I would like to ask Janet to elaborate a little bit more on the existing driveway into the doctor's home and the realignment of the driveway and to get into his home. I don't think we went to go through it. It's on
Thank you for giving that.
on sheet 4.
Thank you, Ms. Beth.
So the existing driveway, the Dr. Farmer's house, I was tracing with my finger, but it's more to the north and the east of the proposed development. So all the existing, all the proposed houses are going to be southwest of that. Sorry. The existing driveway to Dr. Sharma's house is here. And the closest proposed houses are the other side of the driveway. They're not near the property line. They're the other side of this paved driveway.
But is he going to be, is that driveway still gonna be used?
No, he's
Okay,
going
that's
to
what I wanted
abandon,
you to explain.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
he's going to abandon that driveway once he gets the first, couple buildings built and give himself a new driveway. It's just like a shorter driveway, right next to the community building.
Mr. Lincoln?
So in other words, the next driveway to get into his property is gonna be just above the community building. Which is
Correct.
right there.
Correct.
Thank you.
And I would be negligent if I didn't add a few things more into the record after Dr. Sharma had been done speaking for the public hearing. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that Northeast District Department of Health approved the project, the Wetlands Commission approved the project. There is a letter in the file from the Webster Water and Sewer Department stating that the Bryan Avenue hydrants can be used for fire protection if needed. And another thing we submitted in our package is the benefits of the proposed special use to the town. And so some of the benefits are that it'll provide housing for senior citizens, and the plan of conservation and development does note that deed restricted condominiums are beneficial to seniors aging out of their home. The houses have been designed to address the needs of seniors, and especially with regard to ADA and first floor living. The tax revenues generated from the project will far exceed the cost to the town. The project will have private roads, and there won't be any school-aged children, so there's not going to be snow plowing, drainage maintenance, repaving, education costs, or anything like that. So those are the proposed benefits of this project to the town. And we believe that the project meets the special permit decision criteria, and I know you have a long list of those, they're not all relevant, but I would like to highlight a few for the record. This is a residential use, it's compatible with the neighborhood in both Massachusetts and Connecticut. In fact, the spacing, these houses are all farther from any other houses, especially like in Massachusetts, than those houses are to each other, significantly further. It's not gonna create a nuisance by, noise, light pollution, odor, smoke, any of that stuff like that, a commercial. The road is designed to town standards, so it can accommodate the trucks and emergency vehicles. There's safe pedestrian movement within the neighborhood. And the design is in accordance with the 2023 Erosion Control Manual from Connecticut Deep and the 2023 Stormwater Quality Manual to prevent surface or groundwater pollution, soil erosion, and sedimentation. So I thought I would be negligent if I didn't put those things into the records. Sorry if I went on too long.
Mr. Lang.
Ms. Blanchett, on the road width and everything is, you're using what width?
22 feet.
And the other thing I'd like to say is I think your pit numbers from 1 all the way to 64, whatever. I think it was a well done on consistency of depth, height, to make sure you went down deep enough, to check the drain and all this stuff.
Yeah.
See, but the soil, as you go down like 5 feet, 10 feet, 15, your soil composition changes. So I like that too. That's not very often done. So my congrats on that.
Thank you, Mr. Lucky. Any other? Ms. Dunn?
I would just like for Janet again to point out the mailbox and the trash disposal, area too.
Okay. That, and when you come into the existing driveway, they're pretty much on and off the farmer's existing driveway, and we have proposed evergreen screening behind them that's shown on the grading plan. So there'll be the closest area of work to his property line will be this parking area with a mailbox and the dumpster, and there'll be evergreen screening planted.
Is there enough room there for, the garbage, truck to turn around and?
I would. That's a good question. I'm pretty sure he could get a code to the gate. It's gonna be a contractor. He can certainly turn around there. He doesn't want to do a each one turn.
Thank you. Ms. Nelson?
I don't know if you answered this, it just popped in. Is it one way in and one way out?
No, it's two-way.
Okay, so that would solve the problem of a trash truck coming in, being able to get in and out of there, then he's not, okay, all right, that's correct.
If there are no, Mr. Williams.
I have one other one. I brought this up back and when these guys came in before about for the emergency vehicles. 1410, when you're going from, and I don't know if you remember when I brought that up for the emergency vehicles, will there be any signage on Route 193 so the fire trucks would be able to find that? Because, it ends, the numbers end way before that. When I went looking for this, this address, there was no house numbers, so that that it goes into Massachusetts.
I mean, that's something we could discuss with the town. I know that if you do a Google search 1410, it does give you the directions to the Massachusetts.
So if there's a fire there, the fire truck's not gonna be great, just something that popped in,
Yeah, I mean, it would, I guess you could put it, inside his existing, Eversource easement, the CLMP easement on, next to Webster Drive.
Thank you. Ms. Hudson.
I like what Ray said. Because of what I do for a living, I have actually seen it happen. Elderly housing complexes develop, fire department, ambulances do not even know where the houses are. So I would like to see that something, a good directory is put up. I've actually seen it. They don't know where they're going, and unfortunately, somebody has died because of it. So I think that is something I would definitely like to see, that this is put into play, that it's marked clearly.
Thank you, Ms. Hudson. Yeah, sir.
John Moriarty, 4 Windy Ridge Road.
I'm spelling your last name for the,
Morreale. Question I have is, how will you guarantee that people 30 and over are gonna be purchasing these dwellings?
Okay, so, Dr. Sharma.
It will be written in the bylaws of the organization. I had a meeting with the lawyer, so it would usually requisites that these are the expected age groups, and this is the expected, their responsibility. All this will be defined in the bylaws of the organization, so who can come in.
And it will be deed restricted, is that what you had said earlier, Dr. Sharma?
Excuse me?
The properties will be deed restricted to that language?
Yes, please, because this is, if actually, we don't want that to happen, that somebody comes in and disrupts the whole thing. This should be a harmonious organization. So whatever, everybody who wants to come there should understand what they're getting into and what their responsibilities are. And I think that should not be a problem down the road. Most of them is going to be 55 plus. When I said younger, because if somebody needs to have his daughter help and take care at home, I don't want that to happen just like happened to my Westboro friends. So I just want to have that family can look after their family without any getting through the big one.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Thank you, Ms. Moriarty.
yeah, I can
Yes,
help
Scott.
the answer to that is that that declaration and bylaws also have to be filed in the record. And so that would be done according to what the agreement is when they agree to the application.
So they would not be able to have residents younger than that?
That's what it says in the declaration and the bylaws, that's there, the bylaw.
Would there be a way to enforce that?
The association, homeowners association, condo association.
Yes, Mr.
This is a very unique situation, whereas it's in Connecticut, but it only affects Massachusetts. I am one of the residents in the neighborhood, that's gonna have increased traffic. Is there any way that we can get access from 193 for this development?
Ms. Blanchard, do you want to, or?
Yes, I can answer that. He doesn't own any property that goes to 193, and Eversource was also interested in could they get a driveway from Connecticut, and we reviewed all the grading, it's just too steep. Even if you bought additional property, it's too steep.
Any other questions? Mr. Moriarty?
No, this time, thank you.
Dr. Sharma.
In order to your comments that sometimes it's difficult for the, when we saw that's what for 90 degrees. I think what I like to do would be really open house for them and invite them to show them this is where we are. As of now, the FedEx and UPS has no problem finding us. So I'm sure if anybody Googles, they'll find us. But I'm open to have this thing changed.
Yeah, because I've actually seen it
That's
happen,
one of the benefits of the residents.
yeah. I'm
Time
sorry.
save is time, and so I think I will be happy to say we are opening up two first houses. This is where we are, please come and join us open. That will do.
Mr. Black.
You said this is going to be a gated community?
Because for security of the senior citizens and elderly, I think it would be nice to have gated community, yes. That's what my plan is.
My concern is, how do you get the, emergency apparatus that may need to be there that all have the, gated community unless it's gonna be manned, and I can't imagine it would be manned for that size, you have to have hundreds of houses to justify having some security there 24 hours a day.
No, that won't be cost effective to have in person. Technology has come so far, I have been looking into and talking, I think technology helps a long way to have a cost effective solution and continues to provide safety for the seniors there.
I'd like you to share what the cost effective way is to have it gated and yet, allow, emergency vehicles, access.
Yes, that would be, I think, programmed such a way so that if there's anywhere, they will have access to the special code, they can open up anytime. That won't be an issue.
Like a key to
Police, and we will provide that special code to the local, whether it's police, ambulance, they should not be able to have any problems with, for emergency use. Fire department, they should have that access. As a built-in.
I still have reservations on that. Ms. Nelson?
Randy, I can clarify that for you. All elderly, most elderly housing places with gated communities, the fire department, the ambulance, and the police department have the access codes. They are required to give them to those departments. So that if a fire truck shows up, they've already got the access code. They're not gonna be scrambling, trying to figure out how to get that access code. So anybody in town, all of that would be taken care of.
In the,
Mr.
in
Dr. Brown?
in the age of artificial intelligence, even the image of fire truck coming will automatically say, this is a fire truck open. So you don't really need to punch the number, AI will say, fire truck open, this ambulance open. The police car comes in, so AI will automatically figure out what car is standing outside, and that's already in the technology, is easily administrable. AI will identify the unit and open it. That's even better.
Thank you, Mr. Poplawski.
Dr. Sham or Janet, so with the Eversource easement that's coming up, I'm assuming you're gonna bring phone line up too, so 911 would roll over to the dispatch center in, for Wyndham County. And they might do cell service 911, which would probably route to Webster, so there would be two routing paths. But just to confirm, you are bringing a phone line up there, so we'll come back.
One of the earliest people who approached me the moment they found I'm doing this was Spectrum. They said, Spectrum said, we will bring you the 500 of
Yeah, of course
500
they
down at a cost effective price of half the normal. And we also put the line on this and that for telephone. So I think they already are in the, they are calling me every month, where are you? How far? So I think they are going faster than I can handle.
Yeah, I was bringing from off the commissioners so that everybody could see that it would route to
It
you.
will be high speed fiber going on to the line, high speed fiber.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, excuse my ignorance.
Your name again, loud.
Judith Kosnowski, 7S Lynette Webster.
So you want.
Kosnoski. And I'm having a hard time visualizing the entrance into the most beautiful type of facility for various people and to the town of Ponset. But living in Webster, I'm trying to visualize, do they come in off of Johnson Road onto McGovern Lane, down Bryan Ave, and then at the end of Bryan Ave, it's a very short road there. Take a right to have access into that facility, is that how it goes? I think it's
It pretty much goes straight in and then bear left. They don't, there's no new roads to the right. It's gonna immediately curve similar to how his existing driveway does, just not. Brian Ave. Right, you know, how it goes straight in.
And also the Freedom's Way.
No.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mrs. Nelson.
So, all right, but that's the only entrance. Now, that's what we back out of, right? So the constant traffic flow as years go on, there's children in the area, children are there playing on their bicycles, et cetera, et cetera. So we come down Maslin Ave, and we go on Dry Road, take left, because we go to the government lane, so there's traffic coming back and forth. And now they were saying, somebody said, well, senior citizens, they won't be going anywhere most likely. But now we're hearing many people in their thirties that are going. So that's kind of, I'm in the book, that's what I'm trying to visualize. Also, I'm trying to visualize as a book that's been there for 40, 50 years behind our houses. And I'm wondering if any of this disturbance of the land, and I don't understand any of this stuff, would be fairly effective. The septic systems up in that area, are they being put in around Maslin Ave up there in the woods? We have some, yardage out there in the back in our yard before Thompson, because of reality. I'm concerned about septic systems and the practical aspect, also the safety aspect. And the things that are beautiful if there was just another entrance.
Thanks. Thank you, Ms. Kuznets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The septic systems are way deep into the property. There's no septic systems in this, I'm trying to visualize, there's no septic systems in this area near the wetlands or Ryan Avenue or Massachusetts. They're all back in here.
John Moriallo, 4 Windy Ridge Road. Is there gonna be access from Windy Ridge Road into this neighborhood?
No. No.
Thank you, Mr. Moran. Sir.
Tom Long, 17 Aspen Ave. As one of the younger people in the neighborhood with the young children, I am extremely concerned about traffic concerns. My children need to walk from the top of the hill all the way down Bryan Ave, down to Govern to Thompson Road to pick up the school. Right now it goes up in the neighborhood. Quite frankly, I let my kids just wander the neighborhood. I trust my kids. It's a beautiful neighborhood. My neighbors are lovely people and they can walk up and down the street. And I'm extremely concerned that if we have 50 new people moving in, that I won't be able to do that. And I don't know. I'm concerned about the traffic. I think it'll be far too much of it for the neighborhood we have right now.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Long?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Dr. Sharman. Would it be possible, and this is just me looking at it from what to put in for safety reasons, speed bumps on the mass side on that road? Would that create a problem for it? But I think to put speed bumps in, don't have to be super high, but just enough, like 3 or 4, whatever it takes. So when people come in, they go 25, 30, 40 feet speed bump, so that means you can't go 15, 20 miles an hour. And I know it's been effective in a lot of places like this, where you have this type of population. But that would be only a suggestion from my point, from being in this type of business, doing this type of work, do a speed bump, could be 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever, would be by a traffic study by town of Webster.
Mr. Long,
If I may on that point, all those speed bumps are gonna do on Bryan Ave is force the traffic up around the Governor Lane, Wayne Bridge and back down that side. Coming from somebody who drives, I go out of the way to avoid them. So I'm afraid this kind of idea would just increase traffic further in the direction we don't want.
thank you, Mr. Long. Sir, and then you, Doctor.
You pretty much.
Doctor.
You did an excellent job.
Mr. I understand your concerns. I have been there 46 years. In those time, whenever we go to accident, we slow down, the children are playing. Nothing has happened from that property going through this for the last 48 years, 47 years. We are here. I have 7 grandchildren. I have signed in my driveway when United Parcel and Discount, slow down, kids are playing. I'm sensitive to that. I have small kids like you. grandchildren, to make sure. Nobody, once they get out of the building, they have to stop because there's this security thing, they have to open up. So I don't think they will do, and we will make sure that everybody understands that this is a quiet, peaceful neighborhood. And, you know, most of these people, senior citizens, don't do any street driving in any case, but if they have license. So I think it could be, we'll try to minimize your place like that.
Say senior citizens, but then say the limit is
Mr.
30
Long.
years old.
I think for dominant interest is to get 55 plus. That's
That
what
makes
it
it
is.
55 plus.
But that doesn't mean 55 plus not be rash drivers. What I'm saying, we still have to educate and say, this is nice neighborhood. And we will take every precaution possible to minimize. And as I said, history repeats, in the last 46 years, on the road I have been going, and, you know, the Federal Express comes more frequently than I go home. So I think nothing has happened on that thing because everybody's careful, they know the children are here.
I'm sorry, well,
Thank you, Mr.
you're now doubling the traffic, so I get
But
that.
don't make the homes, doesn't make, you know, elderly home, don't make double the traffic.
But again, it's not.
Mr. Long.
No,
No, Mr.
Can I comment on Brian Avenue?
Yeah, let me just get the rest of it.
Okay.
As a person that does over 55 communities, most of the residents drive very slow because most of them don't want to have accidents. They already have enough problems in their lives. I deal with people ranging anywhere from 65 to 90 with over 55 communities. And most of them don't even leave their house. They go out, do their shopping, come home, enjoy their home. That's what they're living to do, and that's it. I think the traffic is not gonna be a problem or a concern, because I'm doing 22 houses over in Dudley, and my traffic over there is very little. I might have maybe 10 cars, 15 cars a day throughout the whole day that drive in and out, and that's it. So the concern for traffic, I think you want to look at over 55, that you're gonna have less of a problem. Because most of these people have grandkids, and they want to be able to protect their own grandkids.
Thank you, Mr. Robin. Ms. Dunn.
I don't know about how many members took a ride to that area through Webster, but Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, for people who live there. But Bryan Road is a wide road, wider than your normal road. I had noticed that. Am I wrong about that? I thought it was very wide compared to other neighborhoods. All right.
It is wide compared to Connecticut subdivision road. It's over, probably 32 feet wide, whereas our, most of this, and some of the older subdivisions in Connecticut have that, but the newer ones are like 24. So.
Are there any other questions or comments at this time, Mr. Long?
Again, you say over 55, they drive slow. We're not over 55, we want to be 30. No, you know, people are going to work every day, all this other stuff. Who's to say, I understand his intentions are for like disabled people, but that doesn't necessarily limit it. There's no limitation to guarantee that it could just be going to 30-year-old who's going to work every day.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Ms. Halsey.
Going to your bylaws. It's just a thought, 55 and over, which is what it is, with the stipulation that if there is a living caregiver, that would be the only exception, because that way you would solve the problem. 55 and over, unless a living caregiver is needed. It could be a family member or through a service. That might clear up some of that problem.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Ms. Halsey.
Mr. Chair, I would like to take and make a motion to continue this to June 24th, 2024. For discussion, for public hearing.
Mr. Lenke has moved to continue the public hearing to our June 24th,
I'll second.
seconded by Ms. Halsey. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, a yes vote will keep the public hearing open until our June 24th, 2024 regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Mr. Lenke.
John B. Lincoln, yes.
Mike Norrie.
Randy Blackburn.
Dave Pakulski, yes.
Good, thank
Oh, James also, yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
Ray Williams, yes.
Russell Robin, yes.
Mike Rowe, yes.
Alan Hill, no. And Joseph Purdy Brown. Public hearing will be continued to our June meeting. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Item 5, discuss public hearing. There is no discussion at this time. Item 6, citizens' comments. If you are attending by Zoom and wish to either place your name and address in the chat to be recognized, or unmute yourself. One of your USBs, the USB ones.
Yeah. I have a phone.
I see none, here's item 7, approve the minutes of the April 22nd, 2024 regular meeting of the.
Here,
I'll second.
Mr. Lanky moves, Mr. Robbins seconds to approve the minutes as submitted. Is there any discussion? I would just say for a lengthy public hearing, Mr. Favreau, thank you for a job well done on that. A yes vote will approve, a no vote will deny. Mr. Hill.
Alvin Hill, yes.
Mike Rowe, yes.
Russell Robin, yes.
Ray Williams, yes.
James also, yes.
Dave Pakulski, yes.
Randy Blackburn.
Mike Norrie, yes.
John B. Lincoln, yes.
Joseph Purdy Brown, yes. Item 8, applications received, application 24-13, applicant French River Materials, owner Strategic Commercial Realty Incorporated, doing business as Rawson Materials, 307 Reardon Road, map 156, block 8, lot 7, zone BBD, renewal of gravel mining operation to excavate sand and gravel in the zoning regulations of 2012.
What I did is, just went out and took a few pictures of the property. This is old and pristine, before, and it's the same now, so if you want to pass this pictures down.
And
I'm
we
looking at it, and this from the top going south, and this is east and west side.
And we also received the comparisons year to year and the photo of the railroad.
The basic. breakdown.
You know, yeah.
Another angle is for the thin room.
Good evening. as well.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Harold Hodgson, French River Materials. Here to request renewal of the permit. And I do have for each of you the first flyover by the drone, didn't come out very well, so they had to reply it. And so here's the current trends. So you have existing, there's one feature. Pretty sure I can do that.
If we don't share very long.
Yep. Steve.
Wow, that is nice.
So, not much has changed year over year. This past year was very similar to the year prior. Things continue, as planned. We're continuing to open up areas for a future rail industrial park. Some of the materials that are being removed are currently leaving by rail. That seems to be picking up a little bit. And so there's, I think I stated it, so for every 10 cars, and there's room for 20 rail cars. But for every 10 cars, that's 50 truckloads that don't have to leave on the street. They leave by the rail. So that's a huge advantage to helping the project move along and not have to impact the local area as much.
So we're here tonight just asking that we be able to continue the process. What you see there in the drone footage, basically phases 1 and phases 2 are complete and we're moving into phase 3.
One more question. Just started.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Lebowski.
So Cindy, I know there was a lot of concern when we were talking with the United States of America and the, the event place for the weddings.
Oh, yes.
Everything as far as it seems, so I wanted to,
Yeah, no one has called me to
Yeah.
complain that they haven't received notification. I did the due diligence last year, sent them a letter, gave them a list of who wanted to be notified.
yeah. So how's that working for you guys?
It's working fine and typically, so blasting events have been a little less than once a month. And typically when they happen, it's usually right around noon time. And so we're done with something that would be potentially impactful to them before their events can start.
I know, I just know there was a lot of concern, so I want. Sure. Just bring focus to it, because I know it was one condition, so I'm glad that it worked out for all the parties there, because I know even the dam, you know, they were pretty upset about everything that was going on, so glad to hear that.
The damage to Wisconsin, damage.
No, it looked pretty full, so it's not.
If there was an issue, I would have heard about it.
Yeah,
That would be the start of.
I was just more, because I know we put a lot of focus on what the effect would be on the neighborhood there, so
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that it worked out.
Mr. Noyer, you have 90 feet.
I just wanted, you said, future rail industrial product, right, it's along the same lines.
This area, different rail.
Yeah.
From there, right from this point to right about here. Is the rail that when it can come in and come out at one time, go in one way and one thing.
Oh.
They added this in here so they can come in. Oh,
So you added some siding basically. More
Correct, right, so there is a north and south of the building, the north and south.
Any further questions for Mr. Hopkins?
No, there's gonna be nothing going on with that other section. The Moser on where it started with
Property.
that, right in here somewhere.
So that, right, so that permitting wasn't anything to do with what I'm responsible for, or what I understood, and I could be wrong, is that nothing could start there until these 4 phases were done.
Correct.
That's what I understand.
That thing, my question to you was,
Although we wanted them sooner to get the industrial park going.
we get to get these 3 and 4 done, the industrial park can start going in, that's the key.
Yep,
You know,
that's the key.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that?
You put up tanks there?
Kind of things. Oh, fuel tanks? That's not my choice. I don't own the property, so.
Oh.
you would just give,
I'm responsible for preparing it, for future use.
Any further questions for? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I make a motion, I'll second.
And your motion is, Mr. Hill?
Make a motion to approve PZC number 2413.
And that's the motion you seconded, Mr. Lincoln?
Yes.
And the motion is to approve application 24-13 for renewal of gravel operation. Yes, approves and renews, no, it does not. Mr. Lincoln.
John D. Lincoln, yes.
Where you at?
Randy Moore.
They must be yes.
Oh, yeah, Jane.
Ray Williams, yeah.
Double wrong.
Mike Rosal, yes.
Melvin Hill, yes.
Joseph Burley Brown, yes. Thank you, Mr. Hopkins.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
You as well.
Thank you.
Item 9, reports of officers and staff, Mr. Canoyer.
Yes, Secretary report. For today, May 20th. Please accept my report. Available budget is $94,035.50. That's up today. Brings to $11,331.35 at last meeting. 22nd.
Use 75.2% of the available budget, compared to 70.5% this month. And we have $28,860. There's 27,455. Meaning the changes, one close month was a change of $1,800, $1,835. One other item was brought up earlier, so regarding checks that were owed for about something. Event.
That's going into on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay.
So the reimbursements to our members.
That's going in Wednesday.
Perfect.
Ryan, could you just read off to me, because I don't have it in front of me, how much you have available in the professional services?
Yeah.
Balance, I believe that
Yeah.
there was.
Yeah,
That's relevant.
it looks like that has changed. It was originally $2,700 appropriated, and the year-to-date expended is $85 from. So available budget shows 2650.
So there's enough.
Well, we'll get to that. Thank you very much, Mr. Canoyer.
There's enough time.
Thank you.
The process is.
Mr. Lanky moves the acceptance of the budget report. Seconded by Mr. Hill. Is there any discussion? I'll just call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Here's the unanimous approval of the budget. Thank you, Mr. Klein. Item 9B, the planner.
Hi, guys. I'm happy to spend my first day back from the state with all of you. Number one, you'll see that before I left on vacation, I did attach to you a draft of, where the suggestions for this year's revision currently stand. The only new piece, that I had added in that iteration, and I believe I highlighted it for you, was a suggestion that was based on the contentious public hearing for the Rachel Drive property, one that I believe will prevent similar unintended consequences of some of our changes from coming before without also disrupting the purpose of those changes. None of that is for discussion tonight. We'll discuss it in subcommittee. I think we should, at this point now, schedule a subcommittee meeting between now and the June meeting. I will say that in general, the available evenings I have almost all Thursdays free. I have one Wednesday free and a couple of Mondays free.
Terry, you know what I think it's time for?
A doodle poll.
A doodle poll.
So I will doodle, but if I get a general sense of whether people prefer Thursdays versus Mondays, you don't like Thursdays. You don't like Wednesdays.
Wednesdays in June will be fine because we'll be on vacation.
Okay, I would say that my personal preference is the one Wednesday I have available, but that is the 5th of June, so it would be coming up relatively quickly.
That's too soon.
The first and the fourth Thursday is no problem, but the other two are the ones that are
All
problem.
right, I'll doodle poll it and we'll just.
June 5th is too
It
soon.
is-
I
it
haven't
is
even
what
had
it
a chance to look at, if you want my input, it's too soon for me, because I have not even had a chance to review what she sent out. I do have some additions that I want to add in, and I have not had a chance to prepare that. So June 5th is definitely too early.
All right, so we'll keep that in mind, but I will send out the doodle poll and we'll go with
Yeah, Terry's gonna send it.
majority. Because that's fair. This is what.
As long as it's not the first week in June. Terry.
The first week in June.
Okay, thank you.
Because these things came up after the agenda was posted and relevant to the budget, you guys will see that I forwarded today a flyer for the Connecticut chapter of the American Planning Association event on Friday, the 7th of June. It's a Friday, so it's during the work week. It is all day. Much like that CCLC conference, this is a really well put together event. We do apparently have enough money in the budget. We are not, the town is not a member of CCAP, so it would be at $60 a head. Mr. Lanky has already indicated he would like to go. Ray, yes? Just gonna write this down, but anybody else who needs to think about it, just email it to me and I'll just get the rest.
When do you need to know by, Tara?
There's no deadline on that flyer that I noticed, but I'd like to get it done before the end of the week, if possible.
Right. So, no rush, if you need to think about it, let her know by the end of tonight. No, if you have, if you can let Tara know by the end of the week. that'd be great.
Do you think you need a motion on that?
Well, this comment?
Oh, wait, so, Russ,
I will move the authorization of expenditures for $60 a member for those interested in the.
I'll say.
Motion made and seconded by Mr. Lenke. Any discussion? Authorizing the expenditure of $60 a person to attend this event,
For those who wish to come.
for those who wish to. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Please know that Ms. Salsi was not present for that vote, please, Mr. Delano.
She will still benefit from it should she decide.
Indeed.
And then the last thing, of course, is 65 Main workshops continue. The next one is this Wednesday night from 6 to 8 here in this room. We are continuing with the education unit, and the presenter for this week is going to be Eric Francis by FECTA. He is the agriculture and education consultant who works with Turtle Up Memorial High School on their aquaponics project, initiative, or whatever your programs. He was unable to get into the Zoom meeting the last time. He designs curricula, so it's an opportunity for the people interested in the project to sort of hear what some of these possibilities are for high school level agriculture. That's what I got.
Thank you, Tara. Cindy, anything to add?
No, what I'm going to, I will report under old business.
Item 10, correspondence. We received several legal notices and a newsletter from the CFPA. Any questions on that? Item 11, signing of Mylars. Yes. And this is the Mylar.
Oh, one.
So we do have a. For 2412.
I did make 2 copies of that show.
I have it here somewhere. I'm sorry. I have too many papers in front of me. But we do have a Mylar to be first. Request authorization for the chair to sign the Mylar for.
Cheryl Lewinsky and John Lewinsky, 3 lots of division on 90 Thompson Road, if you approve, I believe it's February 26th. They brought it to me, I reviewed it, and it's compatible.
With no music.
2402.
Is it 02?
Excuse me?
That's what you said earlier in the meeting, it's 2402.
Yes, 2402. Perfect. Mr. Wilkins.
I'll make a motion and we have to sign that.
I'll second it.
Motion moves to authorize the chair to sign the Mylar for application 24-02 made by Mr. Williams, seconded by Ms. Salsi. Any discussion on the motion? We will call the roll for this. Mr. Hill.
No, yes.
Mike Roglius.
Russell Robbins.
Ray Williams, yes.
Jane Salsi, yes.
Dave Kowalski, yes.
Randy Mark, yes.
John B. Lincoln, yes.
Joseph Purdy Brown, yes. Chair is authorized to sign. Item 12, old business, 374 Thompson Road, Country Inn Bar Events. Cindy, did you want to start with this or?
I'm looking, okay, so. The owners of the property, you know, and the guy came in and talked about what they wanted to do. And they realized after the last meeting that we had, that they're looking for some more definitely parking plans and more structured site plan on that project. And so he went to I'm looking for my paperwork, here I go, I'm sorry. He went to JD and to get a quote from them, and I attached the quote to the memo. So did everybody get a copy of the memo?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Because some of you picked up it and I didn't have the memo. Now I don't know where, oh, maybe.
Cindy, while you're looking, I had a question that you might be able to answer. In the quote, Janet indicated that it would be a special permit application,
No, no.
because you had highlighted the site plan review.
Right.
Oh,
I don't know what I did with the paperwork. I thought I had it nice and organized here. As usual. So, oh, here it is, right here, yeah, okay, so this is what I attached to the memo. So J&D gave them a quote on the scope of services. And, the fee schedule, well, the fee schedule. Tended not put into your, which is to your packet, so anyways, the scope of services. So what I would like to know from the members. What do you want them to comply with under section A and B? In relationship to the scope of services that Danielle quotes on. With the understanding that they have to get Northeast District Department of Health approval first. And I think that you understand that, right? Okay, so. Do you want to take it over, Jeff?
So I'm Scott Hume. I am.
How come your application says Jeff and you say Scott?
I'm sorry. My formal name is Jim.
Okay.
But I go by Scott. I own the bed and breakfast with my wife. She's an immigrant here. She's been here 22 years. She grew up in a hotel. She makes it very successful. She is what makes the operation run.
Oh, I'm not the one.
No. This is my stepdaughter. But everybody's. She is my stepdaughter. That's her mom. But so what it is that they, because of their connections. We have the barn available to us and we'd like to propose a country inn. To host small events, birthday parties, bridal parties, things like such. We're not looking to do huge events. We realize our space is limited, the parking is limited. We have talked with our neighbors. And the Floods, my new neighbor, Jonathan, Ted, Tom across the street, John across the street. I've been talking with the neighbors. They're all on board with us proceeding with this. So when it says the feasibility study is the neighbors may complain and things like that, I talked with our neighbors. So we are looking to do small events inside the barn. I realize the septic is a situation that we have to have engineered and surveyed and do all that stuff. The A and B is the question I had. The feasibility study was something I didn't know where to go with that. So I didn't know if you had questions that might arise from that. Yes.
Ms. Dawson,
When you say small events, do you have a specific number in mind? What is your top number?
I look at 50.
I read 60
Yeah.
something.
60. Yeah.
60,
50
okay.
to 60, yeah. So it's.
So it'd be 60 max.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think she has.
I didn't have it.
Yeah. Here. Jane, here's a copy for you on the next one.
So,
Sorry.
right. So what we're looking for, if I understand you both correctly, is as a site plan is presented to the potential for review. Because under section B, we have discretion about which items we may or may not require in certain circumstances. So the list in section B, which Cindy highlighted for us, for those of us who are able to see the map. there's some discretion. So my understanding, Cindy, from what you're asking is, would the commission, are there areas that the commission would be
Want.
amenable to waiving?
To waive, yeah,
And which would they
want.
require?
Now, again, I'm going to say what I said earlier. I think that everything should wait until he gets approval from Northeast Department of Health, and whatever he has to do with J&D for them to get approval, then that is your decision. And then I can review the rest of it. But I think that's the most important thing that has to come through, is the approval from Northeast Department of Health. If they don't approve it,
Ms. Halsey and then Mr. Hill?
I agree with what Cindy just said. I think we're putting the cart before the horse. I think you need to get the permission first, and then we can deal with the topics that are coming up. So I want to make a motion that we put this aside until it gets passed by that district. And then we can discuss it, because we really don't have the facts in front of us right now, and that's what we need.
So my question to you is, when I go to the Department of Health, I have to say that I'm proposing this and I need a septic design for this. The engineer was going on about my neighbors and everything else, but I didn't know if you had other questions before I went to the Department of Health. Before I spend all the money, and then you say, no, this is my question to you.
So just one moment, we do actually have a motion on the floor. Is there a second for Ms. Halsey's motion?
And I'll second that motion.
Here we go. I mean, how can we discuss it if we don't have?
Okay, so the motion has been made by Ms. Halsey, seconded by Mr. Williams to table this discussion until there is approval from the NDDH. Is there any discussion on that motion? Mr.
I'd
Knight?
like to make an amendment also, the engineer, like J&D engineering, what they feel will work for them too, as, parking and all that other stuff. I think we have all that together would make a better,
So what you're describing
We
is,
can make a better informed
Yeah.
decision with the.
what you're describing is the site plan.
Yeah,
you are, but he also, gave different areas that, in
Yeah,
deeper wins.
they were pessimistic about it because if I had all that money spent and came to you and you said, no. Okay, this is where his concern was. So this is my question to any of you. Before I spend all this money to say, well, we're gonna do this, and then I come here, do you have any other questions before I invest all that money?
Can I just, on the motions, discussion on the motion?
Yes.
I think similar to the other wedding venue, right, that we proposed, that was proposed to us by a band that we did accept. They were proposing porta potties and, different alternatives, not. I don't think we required NDDH. I don't think we did that at all for them, so Jane, I'm not.
no, I'm
concerned.
you just reminded
No,
me,
that's
right? Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
So that option is there. I personally, I'm more concerned with parking and how you're gonna fit those people, those 50 people who come from a funeral to the site. That's but
Yeah.
that was just my input from.
No, you're right.
Mr. Williams and then Mr. Robin?
I was wondering, have you thought about the porta potty? Is that viable or
Yeah,
are you looking at doing?
Yeah, but
something?
we just thought that. I was looking to upgrade my septic system. Figured that,
Mr. Robin?
My concern is that you're gonna use part of the property for parking where the septic system is. Did the engineer ever think of having the septic system where it can go under a driveway? Did they design septic
I
systems?
know that they do design them that you can drive on, because that's what they have over at
All right.
Rice. I heard that, yeah.
Because it brings up the capacity more for parking on the property instead of limiting it.
Yeah, but it's like I said, the thing that, that the engineers were concerned about was that they would invest the money in engineering it and then come here and you guys would shoot it down.
Yeah.
So that was part of the reason I came here, is to say, if I'm gonna invest that, we'll go to the porta potties and then, but if I'm gonna do that, is there an objection? That's my question.
Ms. Allison,
If it were me doing this, I'd gather all the information. Yes, you're gonna have to put something out to get the engineers to do the septic system. I'd also check into the porta potties, because some of them are really not,
Oh, yeah, I know
but
that.
some of them. So it gives you two options to go before you sink a big amount of money.
Parking.
pardon, I think, I do not pretend to speak for the commission, but I don't sense opposition to the idea itself. Right, the devil, as always, is in the detail. So Cindy, I mean, I would suggest the full site plan.
Okay. All right.
No, that being said, we do have a motion on the floor, that was to table this.
I would like to see it tabled until we get more information from you, so that we know exactly what we're dealing with, and you know exactly what you're dealing with. It gives you a better idea also. I honestly, I mean, I'll say it, I'm agreeing with
No,
Mr.
I-
Brody Brown. This is,
No,
we just want more information.
But like I said, when the engineer is proposing his pessimistic idea, and he said, you know, he doesn't want to sink the money before I did this, and so that's my reason I'm coming here.
You can do up a draft, right?
Yeah.
Have him do up a draft, give us a little bit of an idea.
That's the unanswered question, is the parking, is the, you know,
Lighting.
yeah.
Yeah,
the site
and
plan
because
itself,
we
I
know
think
the
what
answer's
is the
true.
principle of it, and once we're comfortable with that, I think that.
Yeah.
it goes up.
Mr. Jim, I don't know if you're.
Emergency vehicle.
So I'm Priscilla Romano, and it's
Step
owner. I also have run the bed and breakfast for the past 6 years. I actually immigrated like 6 years ago, different from my mom, but she did immigrate 10 years ago. For the parking, what the idea that we have in our space is that we would have valet option. So,
Valet
and we
parking, so
will,
that we
we
would be
will, because that's one of the reasons we do not want to have big events too. We only have like small events, 50 is the main number we were looking for, but going up to 60 maximum, because we already say we will do 60, but we are leaning towards less and less. It's just because of the place that is very welcome, and people have been asking so much to go and do events there and have their families there, because we have only 10 bedrooms, or 10
No, that's it.
6 bedrooms, 10 people can stay over. But they also want to invite their friends, and then that's has been a question always. And we just were looking for how can we do this. So we are all new in this, like Scott and me, my mom. But the parking will be maybe, I think in these days we counted like ourselves, and we think we can fit up to 20 cars. And is that?
Yeah, and I have permission, not written yet, but they
For all
said that we could
neighbors.
allow parking in this place as well. So,
Mr. Lane,
To you, sir, you know, parking was my main concern, but they, on the other hand, they're also, instead of having those porta johns like you see on construction sites, you know, the ones you walk, you know,
right,
they have some nice ones that it looks like a building 10 by 20 where it can handle the flow of people in a small group. Look into that. That could be very, because it contains itself to a point. And, you know, and your overflow could reach into your septic system if needed. But, and I think you also should get a written piece of paper, notarized and everything from your neighbors. That will give you that extra protection.
that's my next step.
Okay.
But
That's right.
like I said, the engineer was pessimistic, and you know, so that was my reason where I brought it to Cindy, and I said, hey, you know, am I gonna get shot down because of, you know, feasibility study and all that kind of stuff? I'm just trying to do the right thing, and I'm new at business, I'm new in town. I don't wanna piss anybody off, I'm trying to be a good neighbor. So that's,
Hey, Joe, it's Kais. Can I just add to this quickly?
Certainly.
I'm just gonna tag team, John Lanky and what he said. A good, porta john that is very professional and, I don't know how you want to word it, but we have a purple one and, called Chase Harris, and they're out of Massachusetts. They're very, they don't look like porta johns. So Chase Harris is the name of a very professional, porta john.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin,
Sorry.
no need to call.
I was just gonna ask Kristen to spell her last name, please.
Priscilla, so it's actually Priscilla,
Okay.
Priscilla. And my last name is Romano, Romamo.
Thank you, Mr. Romano. So the motion is to table until we have more information, potentially a site plan.
okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, a yes vote will table, a no vote will take some other action. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you very much, Mr. Newton. Thank you, Mr. Romano.
Thank you for your time.
Item 12. No, so it should be item 13. New business. Item 13A, US Private Lending LLC discussion of 659 Riverside Drive and proposed development. Cindy. Did you have something on this?
I don't know how those numbers got messed up again. So, yeah, we're gonna do business, Michael O'Brien is here, and he is the present owner of Northeast Sand and Gravel, and he would like to sit and discuss with me the reclamation and propose. And before he does that, he is going to pay $1,533.33 taken out of. We just gave it this one out. Taken out of the bond by the state of Massachusetts Revenue Service.
Michael Bryan, actually, I'm not the owner, I'm the chief inspector for the bank.
Okay.
Among other things, but we took over the property. I'm not familiar with, I think he had like 50 units he was putting in. So I know you guys probably know more than I do. I'm just trying to see how far he went. I don't have a lot.
So the answer is not far. He never got beyond the concept.
Really?
Never got beyond. I don't, in fact, I don't even think he ever came in front of the commission. I know. He only came in front of us.
Yes, he did.
Right. Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did come?
Yes, he did. Just that his proposal in that meeting that night. Like, you know, like this gentleman is now, that he was gonna, once he was done with it, because he said 2 years or so at the time. He was gonna be finishing up and doing this, and he wanted to put it, and it wasn't 50.
I have 3 different plans.
It was, we're thinking 20,
Yeah.
like a 55 and over
Yeah.
group, because you got, there's sewer and water that goes there, so you be able to tie in, and you be able to put up any single family type house on, you know, on a piece of property. Because I think it's like 11 acres or 12 acres in there.
I think it was originally 26, and I don't know if he donated or, you know, I really don't. Not sure.
Yeah, but that at the time.
Right.
And that's over 2 years ago.
Right.
Good too.
I mean, I funded it. He's the second guy that actually.
He came on a concept.
What?
Yeah,
He had a
they
concept.
never got past the concept.
Yeah.
But he did have, he did say, oh, he had
So he
some,
go.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But I
I
remember
remember
20,
clearly.
it was around 20.
I saw 50 and I saw 63. Plans
I
for-
thought it was more than 20 because it was sliced, there was like a.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had 2 access. One was, I think it was the end of Whittemore.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's the street.
Nathan was the other one.
Yeah,
I did all the funding for that project, but him mining it. And then he decided it's not the thing, it's all engineering.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, yeah. And you made mistakes.
Yeah, but
I make a lot.
I think also the scale was, you know, it's gonna be part of the.
So basically that scale is supposed to be taken out after.
Right.
You know, cleaned up that area, because I know there's a lot of wetlands right down.
Okay, so before any, well, you can discuss all the plans you want and all the development plans, but that place, that area has to be reclaimed. It doesn't have to have hydro seed on it if you're not going to develop it. If you're going to develop it. But there's also a wetlands issue there. Now that we have a new wetlands agent, she's going to have to come up with us and take a look at the history that Marla did, because I had walked it with Marla. And then unfortunately, there's some issues of what was put in the ground. Now, I don't know how serious that issue is if you're gonna cover the ground up, because I don't think anything toxic is put into the ground, but we have to get to the bottom of that.
So
Nice point.
Yeah, no, my thought is, if he was gonna develop it, I wouldn't think that he would bury it. But you never know, the guy, you know. Never know.
So it sounds like
Yeah.
Mr. Wright needs to work with you in the wetlands
Right,
office.
it's an reclamation,
And-
but you can bring all the proposal plans that you want, and
Right.
that's not a problem.
No, I just wanted to see what the project was, if you guys, how far, if you even looked at it. You know, my job is to get it finished, try to get our money back, what I can.
Yeah.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, so I think the point that we're all trying to make is whatever the prior owner made, because it never got to anything that was genuinely reviewed or approved, you may as well consider it a blank slate, except in as far as there may be constraints on the property that would be identified by the wetlands agent or whatever regulation. Right.
Right.
So typically, what Cindy and I would advise for any development of any size is that you actually have a conference with the land use staff, which is myself, Cindy, now the wetlands agent, before you start paying for plans, so that you know what zoning allows, where your wetlands profile is, so that you don't have to, and the reason we do that is exactly so people don't have to throw away a lot of money guessing what's allowable before you even get here. By the time you get here, you should have something that everybody's confident is at least legal.
And the other issue, serious issue there is the entrance, where you're going to enter. And that has to be resolved too, because I know one of the places that he was suggesting to enter from, the past wetland agent had a big issue with it. So.
Which entrance was that?
Yeah, it was accessed, often, Mason,
Jason?
yeah. And, you know, there's records upstairs in the wetland office, so we can pull those, so it's going to. You know, how much work you want to put in.
Believe me, you get a lot of work. But I've been sitting on it for a while, so it's gotta be cleaned up.
Okay.
So I'll work with you guys, whatever.
It's a very prominent property locationally, and it's a real problem that it's a mess. So I think we just all would want to see something thoughtful and, you know, just well designed. So yeah, your first step is really the staff.
Okay.
Yeah, and when you come back, I will have, Meg, our new wetlands agent there in the meeting with her. It'll give her time to look at the past records too.
So you have my number, whatever's convenient for you guys. Is perfect.
Okay, so maybe next week.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks anytime.
Okay.
Item 13B, 522 Granby Hill Road, request to place storage container on property and store people belong.
Okay. Everybody's.
What did you do? The Bible? Yep.
Okay, I don't have to this out. later. This 522 Brandon Road has been an ongoing challenge for a few years. Between the health department, the state animal control officer, our local animal control officer.
By accident.
Yes. And also blight, which we don't know blight ones. And the blight, that's the other issue. The blight is what is concerning the neighbors tremendously. I did not take complete pictures of the blight because we're just concentrating on one request tonight. Larry Goldsnyder. How do you pronounce it? Goldsnyder. Matt Goldsnyder. Parents have moved into his home and he is sole caretaker of his parents, and so in doing so, they sold their house and they moved years and years on onto the property on 522 Randy Hill Road. We've had several complaints from the neighbors asking us what we're going to do, and I went and told them that I sent them a violation letter, not only on the blight, I sent him one on the unregistered vehicles, which we worked out an agreement how he's taking care of those unregistered vehicles. The bottom line is they were supposed to be here tonight, but he said that they were going to a race, car race this weekend, so he's not here. So what he wants to do, and you have the sites of the neighbor's property, and then you have the container that he wants to get to purchase. And then you have a picture of where he wants to put it. That is only one section of material on the property. In buildings and another container that's on the property. So he's looking, I suggested to him, can you get, if we approve a container for your property, can you get that material into that container until, you decide what you're gonna do with it. They don't want to get dumpsters for their family inheritance. So that's what I'm asking is.
Can you remind me how long, do we have a time limit on?
No, I was reading the regulation today, it was very interesting. Did I have to put the regulation in here? No, I guess not. So I was reading the regulations today, and one of the, let me get the book, I have it right here. Sorry, guys.
Cindy, what area is this in while you're doing that?
That's Brandy Hill Road, right down before Racing Drive.
Across the street is Wrighton.
From where?
Wrighton Drive, it's on the other side of the road.
Yeah, down the street a little bit.
Right.
So one of the regulations. Rental temporary storage unit, e.g. storage panel, but this is the container units, are permitted in all districts with the following limitations. Only one temporary storage unit is permitted on any single lot with a maximum volume of 2,690 cubic feet. And I didn't have time to do the comparison of 40, 43 or 48 feet.
We'll just go.
Rates for that, it's 20.
Whatever the length is times the width.
Yeah, okay, well,
And the height.
where there is an active building permit open on a property, the temporary storage will remain in place. Where there's an active building permit on the property, the temporary storage unit may remain in place for 90 days. But here's the D. Where a temporary storage unit exceeds the allowable time limits on a property, A zoning permit shall be required and the ZEO shall refer the property to the assessor for possible taxation as personal property. That's the only place where he could really, he didn't give me a time limit on.
So he can put a container. If it extends past 90 days, you are authorized to grant a zoning permit.
Okay,
As long as he applies for it,
okay.
and.
Then we tell the assessor's office.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't realize that was there when I was talking to him.
Yeah.
In his partner the other day. So that's where it could fall under?
yeah,
And unless I'm mistaken, we added that D in the second pass for precisely such circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I try. He has cooperated with me all these years I've worked with him. And certainly his partner is very cooperative. All he wants is to be left alone. And to do what he wants in his property. We understand it, it's our property. Except he's on the lake. And he has houses close by him.
well, so, you know his ways forward.
Right.
Cindy.
So the other thing that he wants to do, the reason why I gave you James's property here. Is he wants to actually really butt it up against the property line. And the neighbor said it was all right, and I would get notarized.
Yes.
Letter from him that James said it was all right.
Yeah,
So, does it sound good?
yeah, that sounds good.
You want to discuss some for that afterwards?
Well, that could very well be, you know, so if he doesn't get it out of there in 3 months and he goes to the assessor, then we might.
If his taxes on,
But he'd have to move it, he'd have
Yeah.
to move it off the property, I'm just saying, I want
Yeah.
to make him aware, if it's after
Yeah.
3 months.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm
that's.
sorry, Joe, I didn't.
No,
Yeah, it's only 10 feet anyway, and I asked him, I said, can you just, you know, just leave the 10 feet?
Yeah,
yeah,
So, well, you know, this is the size I want, so you're not getting the bigger one, you can go down the next level.
I would strongly recommend to him that he keep the 10 feet.
yeah.
Okay,
Because that's gonna, if it's gonna get longer than 3 months, then it's gonna cause a problem.
okay,
Thank
I
you.
will tell him.
So it looks like he better get the big one.
Yeah,
There's
Thank
another
you.
place in town that is worse
Oh.
than that.
thank you, Cindy.
I know,
I know.
Jane, but tell me
14.
afterwards in case it's not on my list.
Item,
Oh, I don't even wanna go there.
item 14, review of ZBA minutes. Are there any questions on those? Item 15, citizens' comments. I'm looking at the screen. I see none. Item 16, commissioners' comments. Mr. Lanky.
I would, like to thank Cynthia Dunn for her due diligence for being the inland wetlands agent for the last month. And those, huh?
Thanks for being, said it right, John.
Do you want it written in stone?
No, that's okay.
But I want to thank you for what you did, and it gave you a little insight on the inland wetlands. So it makes it easier to incorporate what you do with this. And, you know, I can tell that you were worn down a few times. But I think commissioners, she does deserve a nice applause for what she did.
For your good work and diligence, Cindy, thank you.
And the best part, thank you, the best part was absolutely going out to see Dr. Shamar's property, that was wonderful looking at property.
You'll be getting a raise.
Yeah.
And working in the commission members were wonderful to work with. And I worked with Margaret for about 4 or 5 hours, the new agent. And then I got to redo the HR special training course and have to follow that with that opportunity. But I am also glad to be back to Parkland.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, Mr. Lanky.
I also would like, between you and Tara, you know, to help incorporate the new inland wetlands. So in your meeting, so I think we have that really good round table, you know, instead of just putting it out there. I'm glad you're taking due diligence.
And the new inland wetlands chairman is unbelievable, he is going to be great.
Yeah, he's gonna say that.
Mr. Dustin.
Great.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, the Thompson budget passed on the first pass, just reported on May.
Thank you, Ms. Frenga. Thank you, Mr. Lanky. Any other citizens' comments? We do have, I know Alvin had emailed, or Tira had forwarded an email from Alvin, about solar energy use via photovoltaic array systems. That will be part of our
Subcommittee
Zoom
discussion.
subcommittee conversation. If you want a hard copy, they are here. Mr. Knoyer.
I had a question. So maybe how that works, is it a group of us that chosen?
So.
It's a whole.
Anybody can join.
Yeah, and you're all equal, the alternate versus regular members that I not have are there, it's a working group, all of your discussion. So technically in subcommittee, you can't vote or take action. What we do is, we hold on to, and I have whatever draft. I'm typing into it live time and we're discussing, so we have no distractions, all we have is each other's voices and the words, and it's working pretty well.
And the public can't sit in, but they can speak. or-
That's right, we do not have public comment during that, because it's just a working group, but they absolutely may attend.
And what night is that?
Well,
Haven't
we're gonna do a poll, it's try to
Oh,
find.
good, because I like to keep travel, so I don't have to right now.
Okay,
That's not gonna be fit on Zoom.
yeah,
Just on the.
No, that's-
Always
no.
just on.
Yeah, yeah.
We do that.
that's done too.
Item. Number, that's fine.
That's okay.
Item-
You checked off.
Item 17.
I mixed them all.
Is there a
I'll
second?
second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned at
8:51.
8:51 PM. Thank you. Have a good night.
You did do it, James Olson.
I'm sorry. What are you saying about me?